channel, and I am super excited for today's video. This is the first in the next franchise that I'm going to be reviewing, which is Final Destination. I am so super excited for this one. I had so much fun doing the Scream ones that I kind of wanted to continue with reviewing some more franchises. So I figured since I started with my first favorite, I will go on to my second favorite. I am just so excited. I love this franchise. If you guys have been around for a while, you would know that by now. I have done a previous video on rating the Final Destination deaths in the franchise, so I'll make sure to leave a link to that in the description below. For this one, I'm just gonna go through and do one review for all 5 movies, as well as then, of course, doing a rating system at the end, same way I did for Scream. I am gonna try to get these ones out a little bit quicker. I felt like I spaced the Scream ones out a little too much. I mean, it was, you know, one video per week. It just felt like it was too slow. So I'll try to have them out a little bit quicker, maybe at, 2 a week this time. We'll see how it goes. But let's go ahead and just get into talking about the first Final Destination.
I got this feeling. It's a weird feeling.
The cabin starts to shake, right? And the left side blows up and then the whole plane just explodes.
So I did re-watch this last night, so it would just be fresh in my head, even though I didn't really need to because I have seen it so many times. It's just, I always put the first one as like my second favorite horror film, of course behind the first Scream. And I've talked a little bit about the history of me and Final Destination on my channel before, but I'll let you guys know again. I saw Final Destination when it first came out. I was about 10. For whatever reason, my parents allowed me to watch it. I think my sister had rented it or something, and they were like, yeah, sure, watch it, even though I was the most easily terrified child ever. And stupidly watched this, was so scared of everything for the longest time. I couldn't even turn on my ceiling fan during that summer. I was just so scared that death was out to get me. And these films still kind of give me that same fear sensation, I guess. Part of why I really love Final Destination is, I mean, you guys know my feelings for slasher films. I love them so much, and this really feels like a slasher film, like a slasher franchise. They took death and made it into a villain. Death really feels like this real evil entity who has thought at least enough to go after people, to have this, death's design, as they say. And that is just terrifying in itself, and that's just something that I love about this. Because for me, I personally don't really feel like you could necessarily call it a supernatural film just because death isn't a supernatural being. It's a real thing, and it's, unfortunately something we're all gonna have to face one day. Again, this franchise just makes it feel like this real thing that's just out to get these people, and that could really get you at any time, and that is, again, just terrifying for me. So this movie came out in 2000, and it stars Devon Sawa, who, of course, I adore. You may also know him from Idle Hands, or he was even the body version of, I guess, Casper in the Casper movie. Definitely quite younger in that. Oh, he is also in SLC Punk. He's been in a bunch of stuff I'm sure you've seen. And you have an appearance from none other than Tony Todd himself, who of course is Candyman. That's another added great bonus to this franchise, which I'm sure I'll talk about throughout this. But he makes a reappearance in, I believe all of them except for maybe the fourth one, which we will of course talk about the fourth one. We have to, but we'll get into that when that comes. And he plays this like creepy mortician who kind of tells them about death design, basically. So if you don't know what Final Destination is about, since I just bragged about it a bunch, it focuses on this group of 7 people, with Devon Sawa's character Alex kind of being the lead, and they are part of this group of students who are supposed to be taking this trip to France, but Alex has a vision of the plane that they are on exploding, and so him and these 6 other people manage to get off the plane. He kind of makes a big scene and runs off. His best friend Todd chases after him, while unfortunately Todd's, I believe it's supposed to be twin brother, stays behind. And then you have Claire, who's just kind of one of the other students. She gets off. You have these, and then you have these 3 other students who basically get kicked off the plane. One of them kind of tries to pick a fight with Alex, so him and his girlfriend get kicked off, and then just another student that happened to be there, and then of course one of the teachers who has to kind of stay behind with them. And so you have these 7 people that basically escape death, and unfortunately the plane does explode, as Alex had seen it, and so then you follow these group of people as death basically tries to off them one by one, and they try to figure out how they can escape death's design. They at one point kind of feel like they have figured it out. Alex believes that if someone's death is intervened and they are then skipped, it'll go on to the next person, so as long as they continue to intervene, they'll eventually get to the end of the list. But unfortunately, and spoiler alert for this entire franchise review, that is actually not true. Yes, if they do intervene, it will skip them and go to the next person, but after that, it just basically starts the cycle over, which we, of course, find out at the end of the film. Now let's talk about the deaths in this film. This franchise has to be up there as like #1 for deaths for me, to be honest. As much as I love Scream, and that'll always be my #1 franchise, this is really the franchise for me when it comes to the deaths. They're unique, they're drawn out for the most part, and although you do kind of figure out who's gonna get it, and there are definitely clues for, you know, who's next and how they're gonna die, it is not necessarily in your face obvious, and some of the deaths in this are very drawn out. I mean, you have kind of the first off the plane death, which is Todd, of course Alex's best friend, and he gets choked by a clothes wire that's like in a shower, and so that one takes a while. The next one after that is the teacher, and that poor woman, she is just glass to the throat. She gets stabbed kind of multiple times, and then inevitably sort of blown up. And that one's really intense, and of course that one takes a while as well. And so you really, you just have these very intense, what, you know, appear to be accidental, or even in Todd's case, they believe it's a suicide. Even though for me, I feel like his death still should have been ruled an accident. I don't know why someone would try to kill themselves, hang themselves with wire, and you can also see that he was struggling, so it obviously wasn't necessarily suicide, but they kind of address that in the film. But yeah, this movie just has some real intense deaths, so if you have not seen Final Destination, and spoiled shit for you, but you're all about your deaths. I definitely suggest this one. So yeah, let's go ahead and just wrap this up. And as far as my favorite death goes, I would have to say Todd. He's the first victim after the plane crash, and his is really, I feel like, the most intense. It's really kind of the most emotional, I feel like, because it, you know, so heavily affects Alex. I mean, really all the deaths do, but Todd being kind of the first victim after all of this happens, especially because everyone's kind of blaming Alex. So of course they're going to continue to blame Alex for, you know, because they think Todd has taken his own life. He's being blamed for that as well. And again, it is just such an intense death, and it's honestly a terrifying scene for me. It's one of those where I'm just like, nope, no shower. It's terrifying. Yeah, that one definitely still gets me every single time I watch it. Oh man, yeah. So let me know what you guys think of Final Destination. Do you love this franchise as much as I do? And let me know what your favorite death from the first film is in the comments below. And before I go, I want to give a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. It means the absolute world to me. If you want to know the perks to being a Patreon, links are in the description below, along with all of my other social media. As always, if you did enjoy this, please do give it a big old thumbs up and make sure that you hit that subscribe button for more horror related content, and I'll see you guys later with another video.